Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you join. Welcome to day 8 of Copilot Studio training program. Today we are going to start our real journey with the autonomous agent. So far, whichever agents which we have created is mainly based on the chat agent. So you are making some prompt and chatbot is giving you some sort of response. Now we are going to leverage the more power and more capability of the generative AI as well as the more power of real understanding of the natural language by the agent and how it is useful in the real industry to make our life simpler. We'll talk about that in detail. So in previous session, if I just give you a brief, we just take an overview about what is trigger, what is tools, what is autonomous agent. We just talk about at the very high level. Today we are just going to revisit those couple of points and going to start our journey from scratch by building some real agents with the help of autonomous agent. Okay, so let's get started and talk about that in detail over here. So first of all, let me just quickly open up the screen that we started from the previous session. So just for our understanding, we started creating understanding the autonomous agent, and at the time we just talked about at the very high level that okay, what do we mean by tools? So in the tools, we were able to add the different connectors, different actions, different agent flow, model context protocol. Apart from that, if you want to connect any kind of custom connector or prompt, you can do everything with the help of tool. So overall, today's journey is going to start with tools and triggers. And trigger is also something which we have explored in the previous class that, okay, what is trigger? So trigger means what should be the trigger of your agent? It is automated trigger, or it is a scheduled trigger, or it's a manual trigger. It depends that what kind of trigger you want. So it is similar like, the Power Automate concept. In Power Automate, how we are having for every flow, we are having the trigger, which is the starting point. Your trigger can be anything, like when an email is received, or when an item is created in a SharePoint list, or when an item is created into Dataverse table. Anything can be a trigger. Or let's say, for an example, when you receive any response into Microsoft form, that can be a trigger. Okay, and action means whatever next set of instruction that your flow need to follow, that is called action in the Power Automate. Same concept is here as well in the Copilot Studio, which is called as a tool. Earlier the name was action, but now they revamped as a tool. So in tool you can add the different kind of connector action, a different kind of prompt action. We will see that obviously to cover up all the different type of tool, it will take around next 3 lecture completely. So today we will start with a basic understanding of the autonomous agent. Then we slowly in the next episode, we will talk about some sort of custom connector. Then we'll talk about some more advanced topic like prompt, schedule agent. Okay, all of those concepts will cover up one step by step. So first exercise today we are going to do is simple. We are going to understand the how to write the prompt for the autonomous agent. That is the main key thing. Okay, so we'll start writing that over here. So first of all, let me just talk about a thing over here. Let's say first agent which I want to create is some sort of weather agent. Let's say for an example, if I'm asking over here that okay, what's the weather in Ahmedabad today, or what's the weather in Mumbai today, or Bangalore today, right? I just want to ask this type of question in the natural language. Now the thing is that there are different type of connectors available over here inside the world of Power Platform to find out the weather information and all. So how to call those custom connector with the natural language, and it will just give you the response whether in a form of chat agent, or let's say for an example you want that response in some sort of email, how you can think about it. Okay, so let's first try to explore the different kind of tools over here first. So in the autonomous agent world, tools are very key integral part. Tools are something which empower the AI to complete the specific task or improve engagement. Okay, now let's say if you want to add any kind of tool, always remember what's the purpose of the tool. Like okay, this agent is meant to do what kind of activity, that can be your tool or that can be your action. Tool word is little complicated. Why? I don't know why they come up with a terminology called tool, but when you are calling it as an action, you can be able to understand it easily. So just consider that, okay, I want to create some sort of autonomous agent. When someone is asking for any kind of weather information, it can provide you that information. And maybe with that, I want to send that information via email as well. Okay, so I mean, there are two type of things come up into mind that, okay, based on the question, I want to find out the weather. Okay, that's number one. And second important thing is, I want to send an email. So two actions I need to do, two tasks I need to do. So two tools I need to add here. Okay, as I said, in tools, there are various options are there. Connector is one of the most popular option. Like we know that in Power Automate or Power Apps, there are so many different out of the box connectors are available. Same way over here as well, there are so many inbuilt native connectors are available. Okay, now let's say for an example, I want to find out the weather, right? So let me search for the weather, and let me just hit enter over here, and let's see what kind of connectors are available over here for doing that activity. Okay, so let it to be fine. And you can see here like different kind of connectors are available. Okay, one of the popular connector over here to find out the weather information is MSN Weather API. Okay, so this connector is something which is available even in your Power Automate, even in your Power Apps, everywhere it is available, and it's a free. So let's just use this particular connector, I mean, as a tool. And by default, whenever you add any tool for the very first time, it will show you this kind of option like not connected. So every connector that you are adding in as a tool, it requires a connection. And obviously, like as a bot author or as an agent author, it will be your account or maybe your service account using which you making the connection. So to create a connection, simply click on this arrow option over here. And again, these options are quietly frequently changed by the Microsoft. Currently, whatever you see earlier, it was not that this type of UI, it was little bit different, but don't worry. I mean, it's self-explanatory. Maybe just if you are looking the same recording in the future, might slightly change, but available over here. Simply click on create new connection and it will create a connection. So MSN Weather API, we are just calling it out. And once you make the connection over here, it will having two options, add to agent or add and configure. So obviously we need to configure it once we add that. So I will just choose add and configure option. And once you do that activity, basically it will add that connector into your agent. So let's see how it will look like. Okay, so here is the tool section, and in tool section you can see get current weather. Okay, and obviously whenever you are adding any tool inside your Copilot agent, make sure you should use the proper general language, so that whenever you are making any prompt or whenever some sort of instruction is being provided to the agent, it understands that, okay, what tool or what action it need to execute. Okay, so I'm just having like get current weather, which is self-explanatory. Description, get current weather for a location, looks good to me. I'm not changing anything here. Okay, apart from that, you can see the connection which is being created with this particular account. That connection we created when we set up our agent for the first time. That's perfect. Now over here, it always having the input parameter. So how does this connector is taking an input? So just imagine in your Power Automate as well, Power Automate, the thing is that we always need to supply our parameter. Based on the parameter, it will get the data for us. Okay, similar way in the Copilot Studio as well, this exact same parameter will be available for you over here. Okay, now over here you can see that location. So what location it need to search and give you the weather information, right? So that's something you need to supply here. But here there is an option, dynamically fill with AI. So you don't need to change this out. It provide two options. Either you want to pass any static value, or you want to make the AI to do the decision that, okay, what location you are asking for a weather. Okay, so let's say for an example, if you are just making a prompt that, okay, give me the weather for Bangalore, Mumbai and Chennai, three locations, right? So it understands that it need to retrieve the information from three different locations and give you the result. So just make it dynamically fill with AI. That's fine. Okay, and units again, like it's up to you. You want to make it with the AI or custom value. So again, these units are nothing but this time imperial or metric, two type of units are available. So it's like a weather units, like Fahrenheit or Celsius, right? That kind of thing is there, imperial or metric. So you can change it depending on your need. I'm making the unit value is static because I want mostly the metric value. Okay, so I'm just selecting metric, but if you want to make it imperial, it's up to you. Okay, and that's it. And there is a last node, completion. Okay, so after running what you want to do. Okay, so generally what happens is whenever any tool is executed, it will just show you the result. Okay, or maybe if you just wanted to be very specific, that write response with generative AI or something like that, you can make it happen. Okay, generally what happens is whenever this kind of tools are executing, it just execute it, and obviously like whichever instruction that you have provided in your Copilot agent, based on that it will respond to the user. But here I'm just writing that okay, if you are even asking in the chat agent, it should respond you with the some sort of generative AI. Okay, that's fine. Click on save. Perfect. I'm just clicking on save and I'm just getting this weather information over here. All right. So I just added my first tool. So whenever you go to the tools option over here, you have added your tool called get current weather. So it will give you the current weather information. Okay. And now we know that for, remember one thing now, for any kind of autonomous agent, this orchestration should always be turned on. When this orchestration is turned on, it will use its real intelligence. And again, for any kind of autonomous agent, it is necessary to have this orchestration on. Okay, we'll see that in detail in a moment. Okay, so first tool that we have added is current weather. Okay, now I also want to have one more thing, that okay, whichever current weather information that I find, I want to send as an email notification to the user. Okay, so I'll add one more tool over here, that send an email. Okay, so again, send an email is one more action that I want this particular agent to do. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just searching for send email. Okay, and when you search for that, you will be able to find out the different connectors. You can use your Outlook connector, Office 365 connector. So different options are available. And one of the connector is this send an email Office 365 Outlook. Same like Power Automate, most of the connectors are available over here. Let's click on that send an email. Okay, and over here first you need to set up the connection. So I think in this environment I already do have one send email connection, so it's not showing me, but in case if you find that, just click on create new connection and set up your connection. Okay, and click on add and configure. So basically it will add send an email action. Okay, so this is what it is. It has added this action. Now let's rename this send an email. I'm just making like this, send an email, send an email. Okay, and this operation send an email message about the weather. Just a minute, my keyboard is slightly behaving odd. Just give me a minute. Just need to reconnect my about weather information which user has asked for. Okay, I'm just making this kind of description over here. Okay, now connection, we already set it up over here. If you look at the additional information, it's something that it is providing you that okay, I mean, what kind of authentication to use and all. So I mean, we just have the by default one. Okay, uh, that's it. And then input parameter. So again, here two, three input parameter it is asking for. Two means whom we want to send an email. Subject, what would be the subject of the email, and body. Okay. What I want is I don't want any information statically here. I want AI can do that complete email drafting automatically for it. Like two, they already know that who is the current logged in user. Based on that, it can send to the two person. Okay, or subject, they already know, I mean, what would be the subject. It automatically make the subject using generative AI. And body as well, like whole content, it will do it by your own. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to do that. That's pretty much it. And simply clicking on save. Okay, so I'm just making it save and let's go back. And here I am. I have two actions or two tools added over here, which is performing two different activities. One is getting the weather information and second one is sending an email notification. Okay, that's it. Now, how can we club that together that whenever someone is asking for any query, basically it will uh, get the weather information as well as send an email. How to do that? And that's where the real power of autonomous agent come up into picture. Here, you need to supply a proper instruction, okay, and making sure that the orchestration is on. Okay, now here you need to set up the complete context into natural language. And now let me give you some tips that how can you write the best appropriate prompt over here so that you know your agent can work the way you want. Okay, it's something that you know there is nothing rocket science on writing this prompt. It's just a matter that you need to write some prompt, you need to taste it that how it is behaving. If it is not behaving properly, you need to supply some more instruction to it. So it's more like trial and error thing. But again, when you write a prompt, couple of things you must need to consider. First of all, you need to set the context that how this agent need to behave, like what role it need to act as. Okay, second thing, you need to mention every step one by one by pointing number, that okay, first you need to do this, then you need to do this, then you need to do this. Provide all the instructions so that it can follow properly into the sequence. Okay, now again, I would say that write this prompt by your own. Don't just use the simple chat GPT to write that complete prompt for you. I mean, it is understanding that prompt properly, because this instruction of autonomous agent sometimes like a paragraph or like a page. Okay, it depends at what level of complexity you wanted to have in your agent. Okay, now here I will start typing some of the instruction over here that okay, this is like a weather agent. Okay, so I'm just writing here that you are designed to help weather related queries asked by the user. Okay, because it's a weather agent. Okay, you must need to follow below step. You must need to follow below steps. Okay, now do one thing. I'm just duplicating this page over here because here I need to copy some of the tool name that we are having. We need to be very specific over there that what step it need to follow. Okay, so number one step, I'm just writing here that when someone asks you weather related question, call this action. Okay, so what is our action name? Get current weather, right? Copy the name here. Okay, call this tool and get the weather information. Okay, first thing you need to do this. Second thing, once you get the weather information, use second tool we added, send email, right? Send an email tool or action. You can use any word. I mean, even if you don't ask anything, it's fine. And it's automatically add the hyperlink over here, when you copy paste over there. And even if you don't add the hyperlink, that is fine. It's still able to understand. Okay, so once you get the weather information, send an email. I mean, use send an email tool to send an email notification to the user. Then I can provide some more instruction. Make sure you use professional language tone in the email. Also, do proper HTML formatting while sending an email. Okay, I'm just providing this two instruction at this point. It's fairly simple. Like what you want to do, simply you need to supply it out. Okay, now let's click on save over here. All right, so now your agent know that what kind of activity or what kind of task it need to perform. It basically look at this instruction section over here and perform the thing. Okay, now let's test this out. Okay, still it's not an autonomous agent, still it's a normal agent which will execute based on the two tools that you have supplied. Okay, autonomous agent, when it become, when we add the trigger that okay, when you get some inquiry via some sort of email and it automatically reply to that email, okay, that is called as an autonomous agent. But still we always do step by step. So what we will do, obviously this is my agent. Okay, so let's just make sure that up to this part it is following my instruction. Otherwise I'll tweak my instruction a little bit over here as well. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just asking some question over here. Tell me weather for Mumbai. Okay, let's see what I'm getting over here. So as soon as you type this question, you can see in the activity map, it basically look at your connector, which is get current weather. And obviously, like when you are executing for the very first time via chat agent, it just showing you that, okay, retry and manage the connection. It can be a normal problem. Okay, always do this thing when it open up like this. Just open this up and it will show you both the tools that you have added over here. Make sure you click on connect. Okay, this is one time activity after agent configuration. When we do the testing, we need to do that. I'm just simply making the connection over here. Just do connect. It's a usual normal process. That's pretty much it you need to do. Nothing more. Click on submit. So make sure that it's connected, your tool is connected. Click on connect again. And again, like this kind of activity, like I mean, there is no such UI in the front end level where you can do it before you taste your agent. So when you taste it, at that time you will realize that okay, this is something which is pending. Okay, so you did that. Okay, let's retry this thing again. So let it to be retry, and the retry will start happening. And see, this is what it is giving me the response that okay, currently in Mumbai, India, the weather is cloudy with the temperature of 28 degrees Celsius. The humidity is at 83% and the wind is blowing at blah blah blah. And okay, it is just sending me this whole information over here to me. Okay, so this is like Gen AI response. It just send it to me. Perfect. And again, it send an email as well over here. So you can see that it send an email to the current user which it find out over here and send it out. Let me check the email as well. So at least it is following both the instruction for me. So let's say I'm just having current weather in Mumbai, and this is what it sent as a response over here. Okay, and just drafted the content by its own, right? So just added action and just follow the generative AI and did that entire activity perfectly for you. Okay, now you can do some more advanced activity as well. Like not only it's just limited, like okay, it can understand only. Now let me just ask some more complex question over here and let's see how it will react. Okay, so I'm just asking, tell me weather information for Ahmedabad, Chennai, and London. I'm just asking for three locations. Okay, now let's see how this agent will behave these multiple queries over here. So you see the power of AI, like with that, it just find out, I mean, it's capture all the current weather information, like it makes the query through that connector, it get the whole information, and now it drafted the final email. And now if we look at over here, see, it clubbed that entire email all together for you, that weather information. This is like Ahmedabad, this is Chennai, and this is UK. And this is what it just give you the full information over here in the email format, like combining the result and giving you the final thing. Right now, just imagine this is just a first case study I'm just talking about, right? Now just imagine with that how much level of automation you can do it out. It can understand just a simple language, just a normal connector, and it's not like Power Automate, like you need to draft whole content and you need to supply some parameter every time manually. AI is able to understand it. Like here, AI made that decision that okay, Dhruvin has asked 3 locations, so I need to reply for those 3 locations and send the email to it. Right, so it just make up that complete decision for you and sending this whole stuff for you. It's just a matter that simple prompt and it just did that entire activity for you. Okay, now let's go one more level up from here. So at least my this instruction is working absolutely fine. So I'm pretty much happy with that. Now what we need to do is next is let's talk about the trigger. Let's say currently I ask this chat question using this chatbot prompt, right? Now just imagine I don't have any kind of chatbot interface. I just want that, okay, I have one common email box. When anyone is sending any weather related query on that, it should look at that mailbox and it should find out the answer from the knowledge base or the tools that you have configured behind the scene and respond it automatically. Okay, I want to do that. So what can I do is I can configure this agent with the trigger. Trigger means now when you configure the trigger, your agent will become autonomous. Means now you have configured that, okay, not only with your chatbot, but without any chatbot interaction as well, your agent should behave properly. Okay, now let's see how we can do that. Now what I'm doing here is I'm making a use case over here that when someone is sending any queries via email to the specific mailbox, this agent should trigger and respond the same stuff that we have seen in the form of chatbot to the same person who is sending an email. For that, click on add trigger. And once you add the trigger, so many different triggers are available. Again, same like Power Automate. Here you are having the automated trigger. Here you are having the schedule or recurrence trigger. Okay. And again, manual trigger is something like, okay, whenever you do the manual chat, it's like your manual stuff. Okay. But so many different options are available. Okay. You can search the other connectors as well, which are available over here. So right now I'm just sending that when an email arrives, I want to act this agent to be like that. Okay, so I'm just adding add trigger, send an email when a new email arrives. Okay, and now over here it will automatically start creating that connection for you. Okay, if you want to change any connection, you can change it out. Click on next. And over here, like same like your Power Automate, over here as well, like a trigger level, what other conditions you can add, you can make it happen. So here I don't want to consider every email. I'm just making a subject filter that if in subject there is any kind of word called whether or all, then only consider that email. Otherwise in the mailbox I can get any kind of email, right? But not every time I want to call my agent. Okay, I want to call this agent only when any kind of weather related words are there into my subject filter. So maybe I'm just adding the subject filter over here called weather. So let me just add over here weather. So I'm just adding weather over here so it understand that okay, what it need to consider, and click on create trigger. Okay, so basically when you set up any trigger behind the scene, Copilot Studio is creating one sort of Power Automate flow over here. Okay, which we will see in the background. Okay, so it is basically adding your trigger. Okay, and over here you can see that add a trigger, manage how your agent respond to input and external event. This is a billable feature and consume your messages. Now about billing, don't worry about that moment. I have a dedicated session on the billing part. We'll talk about that later. But let's add the trigger. And as soon as you add that trigger, you can see that it is showing you the trigger over here. Okay, and there is an option over here using which you can test the trigger. So there is an option trigger. So whenever you receive any kind of email, it will pop up here, and from that you can test the trigger. Same like Power Automate, how you do the testing of your flow. Okay, so from here you can taste, or let's say for an example, this is an automated trigger. So when you publish it out, after publishing, no need to use even the taste button. It automatically trigger that and perform that whole activity, and that whole activity will be captured in your activity section over here. So underneath your activity, same like flow run, it will capture as a whole response. Okay, but right now as we are still in the development mode, so we will do the manual testing. At the end, when we are done, we will simply publish that and see that end to end as well. Okay, but let's have a quick look around that. So we added that and look like this, and now there is a three dot available over here as well. So if you want to see behind the scene architecture for it, just click on edit in Power Automate, and when you do that, what happen here is it is opening this kind of Power Automate interface to you. Okay, and it automatically added this two trigger and one action that okay, whenever a new email arrives, send a prompt to the specified copilot for the processing. So what this flow is doing, what this trigger is actually doing, so whenever any inquiry come up via your your email, basically it just look at the content of the body and pass that to your copilot agent, and then your copilot agent will use all the AI processing and call your tools or calls your action and perform that whole activity. We really don't need to change anything at our flow level, so I'm simply closing it out, but just as an architectural level, I'm just explaining that whenever you add trigger, so behind the scene it is just adding some sort of Power Automate flow. That's pretty much it. Okay, right now you don't need to worry about the Power Automate license. That is something which is a little bit change, which I'm going to explain in tomorrow's class, but just focus on what is trigger at this point and what it can achieve over here. So we added trigger. Now we have added two actions or two tools over here. So now when you add the trigger, now your auto agent will become the autonomous agent. So this is now called as a real autonomous agent. So no human interaction. Once you publish this out, as soon as the email will receive, it will follow the instruction and do the entire thing for you. Okay, now you need to do a little bit prompt changing as well over here, because right now the prompt that you have written, you just written this prompt based on, at the time you just wanted to test with the chat interface, right? Now as trigger come up into picture, you need to change an instruction a little bit. Okay, so right now you just ask that when someone asks you for the weather related question, call, right? So maybe now when someone asks, I mean, that is not the only thing. When you receive any kind of email, at the time also you need to understand that, right? So maybe I'm just editing my instruction a little bit. Okay, so I'm just changing my content a little bit over here, that when someone sends you weather related weather related query, please understand which location they for ask for, and then use get current weather tool and get the weather information. Okay, now I'm becoming very specific over here, that remember who send you the email. You can find that you can find that value from emails from property. Now, why we are writing this statement? Because what happened here is, let's say for an example, if I have my Gmail account using which I'm sending this email that, okay, I need the Bangalore, Mumbai and Chennai's location information. Okay. At the time, what happened here is, this agent should reply to the same person who sent an inquiry. It should not send a notification to any random email address, right? So whenever this email is receiving, obviously like this trigger is being called, right? So first your trigger will trigger, and over there in the trigger itself you will find that who sent that email, right? So that's why I'm telling that remember who sent you the email. Generally, when someone is sending from mailbox is that person's mailbox, right? So I'm just telling my instruction that, okay, remember that person, okay? And the same person you need to use it out for sending an email, which I'm going to change in the second statement. So I'm just saying that, okay, remember what you find from the emails from property, okay? And then I'm sending that, okay, once you get the weather information, use the send email tool to send an email notification to the user. And I'm just adding one more instruction over here. Use the same email address which you remembered in the previous step to send an email. Okay, and make sure you use professional tool, blah blah blah. I'm just keeping it as is. Perfect, looks good. Let's click on save now. All right, so I updated my instruction depending on what changes I'm doing here and updated my prompt a little bit. Again, it's general language, more generative AI prompt. So again, it's not something that you need to copy and paste the exact same prompt like me. Okay, prompt can be different from one user to another user. Currently, I just whatever in my mind at this point, I just started adding that prompt over here. Okay, but when you are writing, it's totally up to you that how you are writing your own prompt. Okay, it's nothing that this prompt is they based, but again, like, be very clear that what you want to achieve. So whichever way you train your model, the better result you will get with this overall prompt engineering. Okay, so I just make it perfect, looks good to me. Now let's test this functionality. Okay, so for testing, what I'm doing here is, let me just open up my another mailbox. So here I'm just opening my Gmail. Okay, and now I'm composing one mail over here. Okay, so I'm just doing one thing. In two, I'm just providing my uh, email address, Dhruvin's Power Platform Trainings.com, because that mailbox is common mailbox which I configured over here. And now over here, I'm just asking weather information query. Okay, and I'm just making a query. Hello, can you please give me the weather information for Ahmedabad? Okay, and let's see. I'm just clicking on send button at this point over here. So I just send that email. Okay, and now I here to receive that email first. Okay, and meantime what you can do here is, wherever you have trigger, you can start making the trigger over here like this whenever you want to test, and click on this refresh button. So as soon as you receive the email, probably this will start triggering. See, I just received an email, so probably within few seconds it will start triggering this agent trigger as well. Okay, so let's wait for that to be triggered. Will take some moments. Okay, and here I am. See, I get this trigger over here. All right, so just now it triggered over here for me. Now what I'm doing here is, I'm simply clicking on start testing over here, and let's see what I'm getting over there. Okay, so because right now we are debugging, I am having this start testing option. When you publish this out, you don't need to even interact with the agent. Agent will do that whole activity for you behind the scene. Okay, so I'm just doing start testing over here, and let's see what it will do for you. Okay, so I'm just doing the start testing. You can see behind the scene it start getting this information, Ahmedabad, and now it will start sending the probably the weather information. Let's see what will happen over here as a part of autonomous agent activity. It's get the current weather information, and it just use the send email action, and this is what I'm getting. And now you can see here the progress as well, that Dhruvin got this response now, so it understand that as well, it remember that, and it understand that as well. Now if you look at your stuff, see, Dhruvin get this reply that, hello Dhruvin, here is the current weather information for Ahmedabad. condition this, temperature this is this, perfect, like this. All right. So this is how perfectly it's working fine. Okay. Let me do one more test. Now let me just ask some more complicated question over here. Uh, so let's say I'm asking one more stuff. Okay. And I'm just asking like a weather information query. And I'm just asking that, hello, I am living in Mumbai. Based on the weather, should I need to carry umbrella with me? I'm going for a shopping. Okay. I'm just asking this kind of query over here. I'm just sending this email out. Okay. Let's go here and let's test this out. As soon as this email is received, let's test this out as well. So this was my first trigger point. Okay. You can trigger multiple times as well if you want to test. I just received this query. Now, probably I should get the trigger over here. Let's wait for a moment. And now here I am getting this. Click on start testing. And now let's see how it will behave. So it find the weather information, Mumbai. It's still progressing your content based on the output it is getting from the previous response. And let's see what it come up with a response. It just drafted this whole content. And when you look at this, it's sent again to Dhruvin. Let's see. Hi, Dhruvin. Uh, Based on the current weather condition in Mumbai, there is a severe rain warning with the heavy rain expected until the evening. The sky is cloudy and the humidity is 83%. It is advisable to carry an umbrella with you while you go for a shopping to stay prepared with a possible rainstorm, right? Isn't it cool? I mean, not just in getting the weather information, but uses the power of AI to ask the simple question as well that you asked that, okay, I asked that, I did not ask directly for the weather. What I asked it, should I need to carry for an umbrella while I'm shopping, right? It understand the whole context and it understand and giving you the answers completely the way you want, right? So this is what called autonomous agent. Like this is a very simple agent. We just did it. We just do some sort of basic inquiry without any kind of chat interface. Just send an email query, automatically trigger the agent, understand your natural language, follow your commands or instruction that you provide and execute it completely end to end. Okay, so this is like some theoretical part I just wanted to talk about before we go with the complex case study, that how you can write out your instruction, what is tool, what is trigger. So at least that base understanding you get with this particular exercise. Okay, now second case study, we will go one more level up. But before that, I would like to pause here for a moment. If anyone has any question or did not understanding anything on the trigger part, tool part, or how to write an instruction part, I'm happy to jump in and help you over here. So stage is open now for Q&A. If anyone has any question, I'm happy to answer it right away. So let me check the raising hand sequence first. So I can see first raise hand from Shweta. You have a question?
Yes, Rovin. So, Jovin, like whenever we send an email, we did refresh every time. So, whenever we publish the agent, so in this case, any duration it's refreshed or how it is work? Because every time we refreshed to get the like result, last refreshed now in the trigger option.
Yeah, so when we publish it, we don't need to go even open this agent. You just, it will be closed completely. How your Power Automate work in the background, same way your agent will work. I mean, after publishing, you don't need to even go to the trigger part to check this thing. It will happen everything in the background. So that's a called as autonomous agent. Like you build it, you publish it, that's it, your task is completed. You don't need to even open the agent, that's it. And agent will do that whole activity for you automatically. Again, we will publish it in the second or third use case, so you will get a better understanding around that. But right now, why we are doing this? Because we are still manually testing and we are still understanding this whole concept. That's why we are doing this manual way. But after publish, you don't need to go to the trigger and need to check. It's just like a debugging process. Right now we are debugging. That's why we are having that experience just as a developer. But once it publish, nothing to do with trigger over here. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Next raise hand I can see from Javid.
Yes, Drawing. I just a small question for you. You said that it becomes an autonomous agent when we add the trigger, right?
Yes.
But it seems to me, excuse me for my little knowledge, but it seems to me it's like the Power Automate, and we don't do it
You
in
can
Power Automate.
consider. You can consider. I mean, many people has that same assumption when I also had the same impression. It's same like Power Automate. In Power Automate as well, you can do this complete thing. I'm not denying that. Complete this information you can do in Power Automate as well. But only thing is that Power Automate basically like a more developer, like on weather parameter, you need to supply that, okay, what is the location? I mean, again, over there, you need to use some sort of AI action which will tell you that, okay, what location user has asked. Only difference between Power Automate and autonomous agent is that like autonomous agent work based on the natural language and more powered by the GPT models, while Power Automate is more like a developer based where every action you need to manually configure by your own. You need to make that decision by your own that, okay, next action, what kind of output I need to supply it out. Then only it will work in the sequential manner. But yeah, when you add the trigger, how architecture wise they have done is agent is there. Whenever you add any kind of trigger over here behind the scene, ultimately it uses the same engine that Power Automate uses. Only thing is that in that engine, instead of processing that whole response at the Power Automate level, it is passing that whole response to the agent level. So agent will follow, or agent will do that whole AI activity and execute all the tools, all the actions, and send the final outcome. But technically, if you look at this out, like I mean, again, like almost like a similar thing which you can do it with the Power Automate, it's happening the same over here. I mean, it's nothing like but they try to combine two engines together to make this happen, because not everyone is knowing the Power Automate. So they just come up with, okay, just provide this kind of instruction and it will do that whole magic on the fly over here. But yeah, if you're more developer friendly, if you use all the actions Power Automate, well, you can do the same with the Power Automate as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Next, I can see next raise hand from Raj.
Hey, Naveen. My question here is this instructions mandatory or
Yes.
it cannot figure it out?
No, it is mandatory. Without instruction, autonomous agent will not work as expected. So if you do not provide any instruction over here, what it will do is, I mean, it will not follow the, I mean, how does it know that, okay, when you are asking for it, for a, let's say for an example, weather, which things to be executed, maybe it will just find the weather information automatically because it can understand based on this description that, okay, find the weather information. But how it will
Right.
make a decision that it need to send an email, for that you need to supply some sort of instruction. So yes, or for autonomous agents, instruction, this is like a heart of this agent. If you do not supply this, your agent will not work expected as you want. So this is like a must and most key important factor in autonomous agent case.
Okay, so is this will it go in a sequential order or it's like a
Yes, whichever
is
order
it
you,
just
yeah. So if you just provide some random thing, I mean, it will
Mhm.
not give you all time as expected result. Let's say if you just write an instruction that this is a weather agent, when someone asks you this thing, send an email notification. If you just write this one statement, based on it understanding, it will try to do its best. But what it will do, like maybe when you receive any kind of email, maybe it send the email to the same account which user sent into. It will not follow the proper uh, proper command. I
Okay.
mean, you will not get the result properly. So when you not get the result properly, of course, you will come here, you will change your prompt, you will do the modification in your prompt and, make it happen or, test it again. So that's how it works.
Okay. So, okay, instructions are mandatory and it's
Yes.
sequential, and that's how it follows
Yes.
to trigger all actions.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you have written the statement, you must need to follow
Yes.
below steps. So
Right.
using this line, it understand that, okay, I need to follow this in sequence. And again, like sometimes, when you have very complex logic, of course, we are going to do those type of agent as well. Like
Mhm.
sometimes you need to make some decision. Like, okay, once you find the result from your knowledge source, then you need to combine it. If your budget is greater than this, then only you want to do this. Otherwise, you want to do this. If you want to do this whole activity, you obviously need to write that whole sequential thing over here so that your agent can understand, interpret it, and provide you the better result. So yeah.
Any limitations on the length, or because since this is a small, it will be like very, I mean,
No,
couple
it's
of
not
lines, right?
small. Currently you can write up to as far as I understand, like 5,000 plus words, which is like approximately one word page or two word pages. Of course, that instruction is
Yeah.
sufficient to survive for
Right.
one agent. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. That's all I have.
Perfect. Next, I can see raise hand from Anand.
Yeah, Dhruvin. So my question is that how means like what calls will be going for the Power Automate desktop also for the Power Apps from Copilot Autonomous Agent?
Sorry, I'm confused between your two products. What do you mean by
So
Power Automate?
so in this kind of tools, ultimately it is getting called about Power Automate in the backend, right?
Tools, I'm not
For
sure what they are using behind the scene. Trigger, of course, Power Automate.
triggers. So
Triggers, of course,
triggers will
Power Automate is called.
happen.
So
Yeah,
when you look
triggers
at
will
this,
happen.
yeah, it will same
Uh-huh.
Power Automate. You can open that up. You can see the run as well over there. So again, it's nothing but your flow run. That's pretty much it. But tools is nothing to do with Power Automate. How they have created behind the scene tools, we really don't know. But my perception is it uses the same engine which Power Automate use, and then it passes that information to this generative AI model to generate the response.
Okay. So in that edit your flow when the trigger will go, can we add kind of one more step in
Yes, you
case
can
like
add that.
run a desktop flow?
You can add that. You
Yeah.
can add that.
And
Yes.
how about Power Apps call from Copilot? Will it be a valid scenario?
I mean, I never seen such cases. I mean, why we need to call a power apps over here? I mean, there should be a solid reason for that to do
Let's
that.
suppose take an example. Let's take suppose an example that it is a flight booking chatbot, and once the user is telling that let me book, and there is a Power App interface for booking the ticket, right? So in that case, that Power Apps will be called from an autonomous agent.
But why we need to call a power apps in that case? Because ultimately in power apps you have used some sort of connector for that. Maybe it will be your SharePoint connector, or maybe it's your Dataverse connector, or maybe your custom connector. Then why don't you call the same connector over here
Okay,
rather than,
okay, got it. App,
yeah,
yeah,
so you don't
directly,
need to do so you don't
directly
need to do
make that
that.
app available. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
But
it.
yeah, to your point, I mean, we really can't call Power Apps from here because there is no such low level as well. Like if you look at the Power Apps connector, I mean, there is no such way. I mean, desktop, of course, you can create it out, but again, I mean, there should be a solid reason for calling the desktop. I mean, to get some values and you can supply that send prompts back to your Copilot agent. I mean, if the use case is valid, yeah, but of course, like at this level you can customize it the way you want. I mean, over here, I mean,
Okay,
if you
okay.
want to add any step, you can do it
Understood.
still.
Understood. Yes. No, the Power App thing also understood in my mind that I can make that as an API or available app and then use as when I add tool, I can directly pick it from there.
Yes, yes, you can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Next, I can see the raise hand from Sagar.
Hi, Dhruvin. My question is, we in the Power Automate we have, for example, instant flow, schedule flow, and automate flow. Here we can anything is possible like schedule or automatic. We can trigger trigger.
Yeah, it should be the use case, right?
Mm,
Automate flow, why we do the scheduling, because on a particular day of time, I want to execute something. So here as
mm,
well, it is available. If you go to the schedule, there is a recurrence trigger available. So use this
mm,
recurrence trigger. Again, tomorrow's class, we are going to talk about a schedule flow. Yeah. So mainly two flows, autonomous and recurrence. This is something which you can do with the help of Copilot Studio. But guys, don't confuse or don't compare this product completely with Power Automate, because it's conflicting. The use for this, obviously architecture wise, if we look at this, it is doing the similar thing, but the purpose of this product is little bit different than what we are doing in the Power Automate. Power Automate is more mainly for again like a low code, but again like more advanced operations we can do, but here we can do more with the natural language. If I wanted to do the same thing with the Power Automate, I need to write 10 different steps to do achieve that. Here I just provide two instruction and I'm all done. So it's like that. Okay.
okay. And in one more thing, in the knowledge source, we last week last session we added some documents,
Yes.
tax method. In the documents, we can add some reference links also. You
Hmm.
you provided the some content like some tax method related content. I have tested. Could you please provide the reference link? But they not provided because we in the documents, if the we will provide the links, it will be provided. Correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I
The
mean,
documents. Mm,
in the document, if you are having another document link or another reference link or something, I mean, I mean, if it's not something that it will start reading that particular part and give it to answer. It will be specifically to that document scope. So
mm,
it will only look at that document in order to make the response or draft a response for you. So in that, if you have another document reference or maybe completely different reference which is not been trained for, so it will
mm.
not be answered. But at least that document content, it will be able to find out and show you the answer from. Okay.
Yeah, got it. In the it will be showing pop-up like showing the pop-up.
Yes,
I get the response from agent.
yes, this
And
document. Yes.
after I asked about agent, sorry, agent, it will be showing the reference link. In the
Yep.
knowledge website it will provided. I have asked
Yep.
agent, it will be provide the website reference link.
Hmm. So,
I
so,
got
so you,
the these kind of things. Mm.
okay, so it find the answer from the both the things. That's what you are trying to say, right? You have documents
Yeah.
and you have website, and it find the answer from both of them and just
Mm.
show it to you, right? So at that time, I mean, we looked at that scenario, like, when you are thinking that okay, your answer should be more from your document and you just don't want to use the public facing site as a reference, they have started now implementing that from where your response should be prioritized from as a new feature. I recently read one of the article that it
Oh.
is coming up. So when it will come, maybe we will be able to do that we can prioritize the answer from the internal source like document first and then public facing website. But right now,
Mm.
if you find the answer from both, it just combine the result and show it to you. I mean, whichever it thinks that which is more correct, it just look at and give you that information. That's how it's working now.
Yeah, yeah, got it. Yeah, thanks.
All right, perfect. I can see raise hand from Rashmi.
Uh, Hi, Dhruvin.
Yes.
My question is, instead of adding the weather forecast as a tool, can we add in the knowledge source?
No, you can't really, because here I'm just, I mean, if you want to add as a knowledge source, right? I mean, why I'm adding the tool over here? Because I wanted to be very specific that it should find the specific information. Okay, using the MSN weather only. Now, if you want to add as a knowledge source, you need to find first of all the trusted source of the website, like search for MSN Weather and see if it is having any kind of proper website over there or not. So yes, it is there. So maybe what you can do here is,
Mm-hmm.
let's say www.msn.com. This is where it is, but I'm not sure it will provide you the proper information exactly that you are looking for. So why I have added the tool here, just I mean specifically to demonstrate this particular agent, because this is targeting and doing that specific task. But if you are doing as a knowledge source, I mean in knowledge source generally there are a couple of options, like there is no such weather connector available. This is just consider this is your connector which is acting to do specific activity. But yeah, if you know any specific website, when you search over there, it will give you the exact information. And if you wanted to add that as your knowledge source, yeah, maybe you can do that. Here you can make it like public website. You can do msn.com, add
Mm-hmm.
that and try it out, like whether you are getting proper results. So even at that time, you don't need to call those connector. But why I have added this specific connector, because I want this information to be specifically trusted from this Amazon source only, which is like a Microsoft API, which is giving you always correct data and correct information. But maybe the knowledge source, if you provide, and maybe if that public facing site is not reliable, you will not get a proper result. So
Okay,
why I
means
have
it is already
yeah,
available.
sorry.
This tool is already available. That's why.
Yes, this tool is
Yeah.
already available. That's why I'm using it out. Yep. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Perfect. All good. Anyone else has any other question? Okay, I do not see any more raise hand at this point. Okay, now just give me the reactions. At least so far, instruction, tools, and trigger. These three concepts are clear for everyone. How to write an instruction, what is tool, and what is trigger. Just give me the thumbs up so I can at least understand you're following with me so far. Okay, it's very easy, guys. It's nothing like any rocket science. Almost like we are reaching to class number 8. Almost like basic things we covered. Now we are just doing more advanced thing, just using some basic concepts. That's it. Okay. Now let's go with one more level up, one more case study, where we will perform some more advanced operation on top of that. Okay, so let's get started. So let me just open up my notes. And first of all, let me explain you the case study. And again, whatever I have performed, I provided the sample prompt over here. Whichever prompt I have used in the class, it's totally random prompt. I did not just look at this prompt over here. I did not exactly copy paste. So you don't need to even copy paste. I would say that start writing the prompt by your own. That will give you more confidence. Okay. But yeah, again, like I have provided that. So if you just want to look at this, you can do that. Okay. Okay, now what would be the second case study now we are going to talk about? So second case study is again, to Rashmi's continuation question that her question was like knowledge source. Why, I mean, if there are any knowledge source, can we get the response from that and use with the autonomous agent? So just imagine currently whatever we have implemented so far, right? In this use case, we just added tools and trigger. We did not have any knowledge source. But just imagine all the previous classes that we have done so far. We configured the different knowledge sources, right? We configured our website, we configured the files, we configured the SharePoint, we configured the Dataverse, we configured the Azure SQL, right? Even if those knowledge sources are present in your agent, and if you want the answer to be coming from there, you can do that as well. Now over here, what use case I do have over here, and this is like my own company's use case. So basically, generally again, like in my Power Automate as well, I'm explaining this as my first or second class use case, and in autonomous agent, this is a valid use case. So generally, what happen is on our we are getting every day lots of emails to our contact email address about any kind of inquiry that okay, sir, where is your next Power Apps class, or maybe where is your next Power Automate class, right? So, I mean, we are not able to answer it out every time. I mean, someone is sitting in front of the computer to respond all the emails, right? So generally what happen here is, like, obviously right now in my company actual human is replying to the email, but let's say if I want to automate it completely, so Power Automate can do certain automation at certain level. Like Power Automate, like email template is fixed. Like I need to provide specific template and only related to that, you can be able to answer. But user can ask any kind of random question that, okay, sir, what is the fee for this? Or maybe if they ask that, what is the training content for Power BI? Or maybe what is the training for content for Copilot Studio, right? Now, I already do have everything information on my public facing website, which is our website powerplatformtrainings.com. Okay. Now what I want here is, like, I want to train my agent based on this website. So I just provide this URL to my agent. So it will train based on this website. And website has all the pages, like, okay, when my Power Apps training is there, or when my Copilot Studio training is there, or maybe if there are any related questions that what other offerings we do, etc., etc. Right? So many different information I have on the website. So based on the user query, it should able to find the answer from the public facing website, draft it out properly and send it out to them automatically. And of course, when I'm sending it out, maybe I will just make a statement over that this is AI generated response. The answer may get incorrect. Maybe out of 100, 95, 97% of success ratio is there, but it may be 3% it will answer abnormal. Maybe we can manage it out even doing the proper prompting and proper instruction. Okay, but how to achieve this kind of use case now? So now here we will use the some of the concept from the previous class plus today's concept over here. So what my goal here is, when someone is sending me any kind of email inquiry via email, it should read the email context, understand the user language, find out the answer from my public facing website, draft an answer and send it to the user back. Okay, I want to do this complete activity end to end with the Copilot agent. How can I start thinking about it and how can I do that complete operation? Okay, we'll see that. Now, just imagine based on this use case, you can achieve so many other things as well. Now, let's say for an example, remember the doctor's use case that we have done previously, that someone is interacting via chat agent and we are booking the whole appointment, right, for them. Now you can do the same thing with the autonomous agent as well, that, okay, if someone is asking that, okay, I want to book an appointment on blah, 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 this date with this doctor, and they just send you the email. And what happens is, as soon as that email is received, uh, there is no receptionist required. It understands this whole context. It create the ticket. I mean, it will create this thing behind the scene. It automatically respond it to you, And again, the main good thing is it's a customized response. It's not like a templatized response. So sometimes just imagine this type of agents can also be useful. Like, okay, you are having any gym, you are a gym owner, and every day you are getting a query that, okay, what would be your plan? What is the personal training price? What is the gym timings? Is your gym is 24/7 open, right? This type of queries many times we are having. Or maybe sometimes they have booked some of the supplements from the gym. They wanted to know the status of their supplements and all, right? So I mean, right now with the manual way, maybe people are responding because they are able to understand the human context, find the stuff and give the answer, right? But this autonomous agent will replace that human part. I mean, level 1 support is replaced completely with this one. Understand the context, find out the answer, respond it automatically. Of course, human interaction required at certain level, but it will reducing lots of work. Let me tell you one case around this autonomous agent. Like certain days back, specifically 6 month, it happened around 6 month, where we implemented one of the company. Specifically, they are the machinery company, and every day they are receiving lots of price quotation emails. And they are, I mean, you don't just imagine, like 500 to 600 emails they are getting every day, and they are having 8 employees to just respond that, like what order they are, whether it's there in their inventory, and depending on that they are responding. So we just build this agent, and it understand that product perfectly. Look at their inventory from the Excel and look at that, okay, what is the pricing for that, and automatically reply to that particular customer. 7 to 8 agent work. just shrink it down. I mean, now they are having hardly like 10% of employee to do that activity, and that complete automation is done with the agent. Right. So this level of automation, you can do it over here. Now let's see how we can do this one. Again, previous concept we will use plus some of the new concepts we will apply over here. And let's see how to start with. So first of all, I'm just going back to my solution and let's create a uh, fresh new agent for this activity. And again, for this one, I will use couple of things automatically. I mean, because now we know some of the steps for building an agent, to save some time, we will do a few things in a fast forward way. And whenever there is a necessary that okay, which is completely new, we will do that thing. But now, right now in your mind, it should be like, okay, now how can I build my agent? What are the steps I need to perform over here, right? So first of all, always do some sort of rough sheet and define like what you need to do as a part of your activity in order to build this whole autonomous agent. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I simply open this agent over here. First, I will decide that okay, where it need to find the answer. So maybe from the site. So maybe I need some sort of knowledge base for that. Okay, this is something we learn. And then what I need to do is understand the email. So when email is understable, I mean email we need to read, right? So we need some sort of trigger. Okay, and then we want to send them reply back. So again, we need some sort of tool to send the response back. Okay, so I need this whole thing to be implemented. So what I'll do, mainly these three things I need to do. So I'll start this journey by creating a new agent from the scratch. And now this is the requirement. You know, the use case I already explained, but what are the requirements that customer has provided? I'm just explaining to you over here. You need to process the inquiries. You need to process the incoming email. You need to find the answer from the internal knowledge base and send them the response. Okay, this is what you need to do. And they clearly say that okay, your message should be in a good fashion. And if it is unable to answer, or maybe there is some sort of wording they need, that at the end you need to send your email to, for any inquiry they can call on this number, and well formatted structure, and again like a closing signature properly. Okay, this kind of thing they want. Okay, and with that they also want to capture the logs in the SharePoint. So again, like whichever inquiry they received on a daily basis, they want to capture in a SharePoint list that this is the customer who has inquired for this thing. So at least they have a some sort of summary kind of thing. Okay, so 4 steps they wanted to perform with this overall agent. All right, so now let's see how we can accomplish this thing. It's fairly very simple, so let's get started with that. And again, I would like to I'm just clicking on skip to configure, and now I will provide my agent name first. So my agent name will be Power Platform Training Assistant, because it will help me to just provide some sort of helping the some sort of queries automatically. So I'm just providing that name. Description, I'm just copy pasting some description. It's fairly simple, that what's the purpose of this agent. So I just added this content. You are an intelligent support agent designed to assist students with the inquiries about various Power Platform training programs offered by our company, Power Platform Trainings. Your role is to efficiently process the student queries, provide accurate responses, and ensure that no question go unanswered. I'm just providing this description, what this agent is doing. I'm not offering at this point yet any instruction. Instruction I will provide at the later stage. Let's create this agent first, and we'll take some moments in order to create the agent. So let it to be created. It is creating. Let's wait for a moment, making sure generative orchestration is enabled over here, and make sure publish button is enabled. So it will take some time in order to set up the agent for the first time. Let it to be. Okay, publish button is enabled, all good. All right, now I also want to do one thing. Go to the setting option and make sure For this kind of autonomous agent, you just turn off the use general knowledge as turn off, because I don't want this agent to be over smart and just to use any kind of web knowledge. I want this to be responded only from the knowledge sources I configured. So I'm just configuring this use general knowledge off, so it just don't be try to be over smart, and it just use the knowledge source that we are configuring. So for that, we just turn off this option, use general knowledge. I don't want AI to use any kind of general knowledge apart from the knowledge that I have configured over here. Of course, it will use the large language knowledge, but it's not something that, you know, Power Apps training it will find from any random website on the internet. I don't want that. I only want to use powerplatformtrainings.com to get that answer. If it don't find the answer, do not give the answer. Okay, so it's like that. So I'm just turning off my general knowledge, and now I'm just going to my knowledge source to configure my public facing website. So click on add knowledge. We know how to configure the public facing website now. Click on that, provide the website link. So this is my website link. Let me just open that up quickly. Just a minute. Let me close this one. This is my website. I'm providing a root level URL over here. So let's apply that. Add a knowledge. Sorry, not here. So all the unnecessary thing that I have here. www.powerplatformtrainings.com. I'm just providing that. Click on add, and now I'm just providing some name, Power Platform Trainings, and I'm just providing this knowledge source, provide the information about different training programs offered by our company. Okay, I'm just adding this instruction and click on add agent, and now it will start training and it's available. So you can see the status ready. So my knowledge base is ready. Perfect, it's done. I'm going to the overview section again, and now I will decide that what next task I want to do. I want to do the task where they need to send an email with the response. So I'll obviously use send an email action, and I also want to log an entry into SharePoint list. So let me open the SharePoint list first. So I'm just making Copilot. I have already one SharePoint list created before this class. So let me just open that up, because I want to capture these whole responses into this particular SharePoint site. I'm just deleting this whole records first. Okay, so over here, this is my training inquiry, and here I have couple of columns like title column, inquiry for, or description column. Okay, this kind of columns I do have. So maybe I just want to capture this column information over here, that which type of query and description it is there for, and maybe if there is any specific training program they want to cover, maybe I just want to capture that information. So I'm just having this simple SharePoint list where I want to capture the response. Okay, so I will use two different actions over here. Specifically, like for that, I will add two tools, that what task I want to do. First, I want to reply it back. So I will use send an email action. And second, I will use this SharePoint because I want to create an entry over there. So for that, click on add tool. And first of all, search over here. Like you can see all the connectors are available. Office 365 Outlook has action called send an email. Use that. Again, make a connection. If it's already there, just add and configure. Perfect. Send an email. I will just provide a proper information. Send an email. This operation send an email messages to the queries asked by the students related different Power Platform offerings. Okay, just provide some proper instruction, because generative AI, more and more you provide a better description, better result you will get. Your AI will easily be able to understand what exactly this action do. Okay, so I'm just providing this thing. Perfect, looks good. To email address dynamically, because whoever person is sending to the same person I want to respond. I don't want to make it any hard coded. Subject should also be dynamically drafted. Body should also be dynamically drafted with the AI, because here I don't want to use any static template or anything. I just want this completely to be done by this thing. Okay, perfect. And completion, I mean, currently I'm not setting anything, but let's say if you, when you are debugging and you want this output to be displayed in your chat agent, maybe you can use any one of this option. But I'm not doing anything right now on this. Simply clicking on save at this point, and your email action is ready. Okay, send an email, that's done. So you added send an email, perfect. Okay, now with this you also need to do, you need to create an entry into SharePoint list, right? So for that, again, add a tool and think about what is possible in the SharePoint. Maybe search over here for SharePoint, and when you search it, you will find lots of other tools action which are available over here. So you can see these are different SharePoint action. Same like Power Automate, you can find all those Power Automate action inside your Copilot Studio as well. This is called as a tool. Now over here you can use any of the action. So let's say I want to do create an item. Okay, so I'm just using create item action because this is what I wanted to do. Click on add and configure where you want to create an entry. Okay, so create item for training inquiry. Let's provide proper name over here. Creates a new item for a SharePoint list about the training inquiry it received. It's not necessary to, change this thing every time, but if you do it, you will find a better result. Okay, so I mean, even if you do this, I mean, it's a simple action, so it can understand it easily, but make it properly identified. Don't just keep it as is. Okay, so when you are having multiple actions, it can easily be able to understand like what to call. Okay, so it perfectly added the details. Perfect. Now over here you need to supply the parameters that, okay, how does it know that in which site, in which list it need to enter the data, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm just obviously, like, site address is something we need to statically supply, that which site we are targeting to enter the data. So when you click on that, it will show you all the sites. So one of the site that I have used here is Copilot Studio use case. So I'm just selecting my site. List name, let's apply it with the custom value, and my SharePoint list name will be appear over here. It loading, and this is my SharePoint list inquiry training. I'm just providing that over here. Okay, item, it will, I mean, once you set up the list, it will set the item property automatically based on the AI. So you will not see any configurable fields over here. Okay, let's click on save over here. Okay, and this is how your input values are looking like. Site address and list name, you supply it out, and your another tool action is ready. Create item for training inquiry. Okay, now you are done with your tool as well. So you can see you added your two tools. Create an item for training inquiry, and you added the knowledge source as well. Now you wanted to make it completely automated, right? So when any inquiry come via email, you want to add a trigger. Okay, so let's add the trigger now. So I'm just adding a trigger. When a new email arrives, this is the trigger I want to use. Let's click on next. And I just would like to have here like a, it is related training inquiry related stuff. Okay, so maybe in the subject I can just filter like not all the emails, but in case if you want to read all the emails, that is also fine. Okay, but let's click on next. I'm just applying any kind of subject filter for training inquiry. Okay, so I can know that only if the subject is matches with this kind of keywords, then only, or maybe you can only mention like inquiry word. So any kind of inquiry, I mean, it consider and it find the answer for you. Okay, so I'm just having training inquiry at this point. Click on create trigger and it will create this trigger for you. Let it to be added. Behind the scene, it will add Power Automate automatically for you. So that's pretty much it. Your trigger is ready. Your two tools are ready. Your knowledge source is also ready. So this agent have one knowledge source, two tools, and one trigger. Okay. Now the main thing is that you added your all background activity. Now how it need to behave, that's something you need to supply as an instruction over here. Okay. So now the main power is come up over here as a providing the instruction. Okay. Now let's try to draft an instruction now. Okay. So first of all, let's set up some sort of context that what is the purpose of this overall agent. Okay, so I'm just adding some of the statement over here. I'm not typing everything right now on the screen, so I'm copy pasting some of the prompt over here, but just think in a natural language and provide that like you are created to help the customers related different queries for Power Platform trainings they want to take from our company. Students are sending their queries via email with all the questions. Multiple questions can be included in the one email. Make sure you will not miss any of the question. You should follow the steps below without missing any. Once all the actions are completed, your work is finished. Okay, I'm just telling my agent that okay, just think in a very natural way that if any new employees is joining and if you are explaining them task, if they need to follow some steps, how you are explaining to them, same way you are instructing, you are setting up the context that what's your task is, right? So I'm saying that okay, you need to send a query and I mean this is what you need to perform. Okay, so first paragraph is all about that, setting up the context. Now, what actions it need to execute one by one. Now, let's say, okay, so now I'm adding one more statement over here that obviously at the trigger level we applied that okay, if it is any word related training inquiry, then only it is responding, right? So I'm making sure that okay, again, just for a safer side, I'm adding one more line over here that okay, when you when you receive an email with the subject line training inquiry, perform the following task without asking the user for the information. So it should not prompt anything because it's an autonomous agent. So in the background, it should work as expected. Okay. Now what task it need to perform? Number one. So, when anything come up into the email body, right? First, it need to understand the body context that what user has asked, right? So I'm just adding some sort of context that parse the email body and identify the question which user has asked. Okay. Also, remember their email address, which you need to use in the upcoming steps. Okay, because obviously that email address somehow we need to supply to replying the email using send an email action, as well as when you are doing the entry at that time you need to do that. Okay, so parse the email body and identify the question which user has asked. Also remember their email address which you need to use in the upcoming step. And I will saying that email address you will find using from property. Okay, so I'm just making like this. Now, second thing, once it identify the question, it need to find the answer from the knowledge source, right? So I'm just writing a question, a second instruction. Once you understand the question, search your internal knowledge base information which user has asked. Okay, look at your internal knowledge source and which user has asked. Number 3, use the action, use the tool or action, any word you can use, that's fine. Send an email. Use the tool send an email to write an email response to the customer advising their questions. Now I'm asking some more instruction to it. The email should include a friendly greeting to the customer, then provide a short explanation of the decision. And let me just add these things. So I'm adding this line. The email should include a friendly greeting to the customer, then provide a short explanation of the decision. Also, please suggest to call our customer care department on this number. Use a friendly sign off as Power Platform customer services. Do not include any citation in the email. Please do proper formatting of the email with HTML and send the formatted email to the user. Okay. Why I make the citation line? Because you know the knowledge sources, when we search it, right, it at least in the chat response it is providing the citation, right? So at least in the email we don't require any citation. So I'm just providing that do not consider any citation in the email. Okay. Now number 4. This is what I provided. Number 4, use tool. Now it need to use SharePoint entry as well, right? So use tool, copy this line, create item for training inquiry. To create an item into SharePoint. Okay, and then you can just provide that. Now the question also come up into our mind, right? Because you know there is no like Power Automate kind of thing, like in which column what value should go, right? So maybe you can just provide some instruction over here itself, that in your SharePoint you are having the title column, you are having inquiry for, and you are having description, right? So maybe you can just define it over here in the instruction that you need to find title. I mean like this. You need to find the title from who sent you an email, description and inquiry from you will get from the email body. Okay, so I'm just mentioning this thing so it knows that from where to pick up the value. Okay, so this is what I'm just providing 4 steps. Okay, now you just imagine, you know, the length is increasing now depending on your use case. Okay, now tomorrow's class when we will do more level of instruction. Okay, but at least for this one I just provided this level of instruction. That's pretty much it. I'm pretty much good with this. Let's click on save now. And now it's a testing time. Okay, still we are not publishing this out. We will do the manual test and then we will publish it out and we do the testing around that as well. Okay, but again, very simple thing. Whatever you think in a natural way, so same way you just need to provide the instruction. Okay, and even, you know, if you are not comfortable writing this prompt, you know, take some help from ChatGPT as well if you want. So always go to the ChatGPT and maybe you need to provide some prompt here as well, then it will create a better prompt for you, right? So you can write like this as well. I'm creating one autonomous agent which look my company's public facing website and answering the students via auto reply email and create an entry in SharePoint. Help me to write better prompt. It will help you. Okay, so it will start doing this, but again, like, it's not like the way I'm expecting, but at least some sort of idea you will get it from there. Okay, so again, I would say that do not just use ChatGPT completely to write another prompt. I mean, think in a natural way. It's same like, if you are a manager or if you are a senior resource, right? How you are explaining to your junior resource to do the task. Same instruction you need to provide it over here, but in an English format that model is understanding in the natural language. So you provide it, all good. Now let's test this out. Okay. So again, first we are doing the manual testing over here. And for that, what I'm doing here is I'm just clicking on the test button over here. All right. And now this is coming from the email, right? So let me open up my Gmail. Let me compose one email. So I'm again sending to Dhruvin, and I'm adding some sort of subject over here. Training inquiry power apps. Hello. I'm asking 3 questions to it. I have some question on the power apps training. Power apps model driven app training. Let me be specific. Model driven app training. Can you help me to understand the course content? Can you tell me the price of the course? Can you tell me when the course will start? Okay, thanks. All right, I'm sending this kind of email. All right, let's see what I'll get as the response as well as how the agent will behave. Okay, so I sent an email. Now let's wait for this autonomous agent to respond and trigger the stuff for me. So I just received a mailbox over here. I just get the training inquiry. Okay, now it should trigger this. Okay, I'm just clicking on start testing now. Let's see what will happen. Finger crossed, because AI is not something which always give you in a first go response 100% properly, but let's see what it come up with. So it started looking at the knowledge sources. It understand this Dhruvin's email address and it drafted something and send it to the user. Let's see what I get as a response. Still didn't receive an email. Let's wait. Okay, it is asking me to allow. Okay, this is first time we are testing, guys. So it is just showing you this. So you just need to allow this. Okay, SharePoint as well, it is showing you to allow you. First time it will happen when you are testing. Okay, it's completed now. All right, and now let's see. I get this in response. Hello, Dhruvin. Thank you for reaching this out. Model driven app training. The course content for model driven app includes this. It just summarizes this statement. Course fee is this one. The course will start on August 1, 2025. And further question you can call on that particular stuff. Okay, so it just showing this particular result to me over here. It just find it out from the knowledge source and giving the overall response to us like this. Okay, now let me just talk about one more thing here. Okay, so it responded, and as we go into the debug mode, I'm just getting this information. Okay, now let me just talk about one more thing. Like specifically when we are talking about autonomous agent, right? So this is basically like connection that you created your account with. your tool with, right? Sometimes you are having the service account to send an email notification and all, right? So instead of this account, maybe if you are having another mailbox account, you can use create a new connection and configure your Outlook connection with that account, and you can configure it out. Okay. Second thing, I just want to uh, ask about one more thing. Sometimes, ask the end user before running. So make sure here it's a no. By default, it is no. So, it will not ask the end. I mean, because it's an autonomous agent. Behind the scene, we are not going to, anything to be done via any interface. It can be do completely automatically. Okay. And have end user sign in with their own credential? No, because I want to use tool owner's credential, which means that whatever credentials are configured over here to execute this action, I want to use that. I don't want to use users mailbox to send an email. Users can be anything, right? So I'm just using no. We don't need, no, pass through tool owner's credential, which means that whichever account, which tool is configured with that, I want to send an email. So I'm using that. And same way over here as well, like this is my SharePoint, right? And in SharePoint, we have this thing. Same way, go to the additional detail and authentication. I would say just use tool owner's authentication. So it will just create using whichever account, like Dhruvin's account is configured. So with Dhruvin's account, this action or this tool should be run. So make sure you select that. Okay. So authentication is again a key, like, okay, when your agent is authenticated, I mean, your user is interacting with the agent, what authentication it need to supply. Okay. And now if we look at the SharePoint as well, I'm just refreshing my stuff. It is just adding this whole entry as well for me, that okay, inquire for model driven training, this is what the description, and it just created the whole summary as well for me. So the record is also created behind the scene for you. Okay. So this is how the overall stuff look like. Okay. Now let's try couple of things over here. Even let's say if you don't want to completely test out from your email every time, and let's say if you just want to do some sort of testing using just this chatbot, you can do that as well. So maybe I'm having one query that training query related next Power Automate batch, and it's B. Okay. And let's see what kind of response I'm getting over here, because I'm just asking this query over here. Okay. And it will look at the knowledge source. Okay. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to help you with that. Can you try rephrasing? It's not understanding properly. So it's just showing me this error message over here. Okay. So maybe I'm just asking, being more specific, Power Automate training summary. Okay. Let's see. Okay. It understand this time. It get a knowledge source. It created an item as well. And now if you look at this, I just chat with the chat interface. So I'm just getting, it uses my current logged in credential, and it just reply me that thank you for reaching you out for your query. This is like your stuff. And it just added this other information, blah, 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 and just sending me the reply over there for me. Okay. So this is how it behaves. So everything is like just based on what kind of description and instruction that you are supplying to your agent. Okay. Now, let's say if you don't want to be taste this manually using trigger, okay, at the time you can simply publish your agent. Okay, once you publish your agent, what happens is after that only your agent will start working independently. That okay, without any interface itself, behind the scene, like Power Automate, it will start executing. Okay, so let's publish this out. So what happened here is, what it is saying, that review and verify your agent setting, full access for editors. Your agents run the tool that uses author's credential. Your agent includes the trigger that use author's credential. That is fine completely. Click on publish. let this agent to be published, and after this agent is published, after that it takes some moment in order to reflect that. Not immediately it will start reflecting. We just need to wait for 5 to 10 minutes in order to test that out. Okay, so you can see your user will see the content soon. This is what they are saying. It will take some sort of time. Okay, same like here, no, how you publish your Power Apps. After that, after 2-3 minutes, it start taking the impact. Same way as well, like once you publish it, it will take some moments in order to reflect the changes. Okay, so let's wait for that. And again, like once it will trigger automatically, you can able to track that in your activity section. So this is your activity section where all your sessions that is happened for the agent will appear. So over here in this section it will start appearing for you. Okay, so let's wait for that changes to be published, and let me do one thing. While this changing is being published, let me draft one more email to do that automation testing, so that when it trigger, at least we will get to know that information. Okay, so I'm just drafting one more question over here. Training inquiry for Power BI. And hello, can you please tell me the course content for Power BI, and when this course start? Give me the summary. Okay, so I'm just sending this out now. And now let's wait. We are not going to check anything with the manual stuff. Let's wait for the autonomous agent to completely respond, because now we published without any interaction, and let's see what kind of response we will get. Okay, but meantime, while it is responding, let's open the stage now for Q&A. If anyone has any question, at least for this use case. Now in this use case we use knowledge source. Earlier we didn't use the knowledge source. So this is like your knowledge source plus your tools plus your trigger. In future cases we will use this kind of tools plus custom connector plus knowledge source plus triggers, everything. So when you use more and more control, your agent complexity is getting increased, and depending on that you can achieve your complex use cases over there as well. Okay, so now I'm opening the stage for Q&A. If anyone has any question, I'm happy to jump in and answer. So let's see. I can see first raise hand from Shankar. You have a question?
Yeah, Dhruvin, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so the question is about as a part of instructions, when you said create an item in SharePoint, I saw that you're copying a URL and stuff. When you're promoting your product or solution from a dev to production environment, how these connections are going to be promoted? Because your connections are going to be different in the production environment, right? How that's going to work, that's one thing. And now as a part of the solution, how do I manage all these connections from dev to production or different environments? The third one on the same topic is error handling. For some reason, if your SharePoint is the list, you're not able to authenticate, or your things are not going in the way right, how do you manage error handling?
Okay, so let me just answer you in this way. So first of all, at the tool level, environment variables are possible. So over here, if you look at this thing, when you configure your SharePoint site over here for the first time, okay, there is an option environment variable. You can create an environment variable and configure your SharePoint with this. So when you move to the production, change the environment variable and it can be configured automatically. Uh, Talking about the connection, when you deploy your package into your production environment, obviously like same deployment, like how you do the traditional Power Platform deployment, it will work same like that. But here we can do more unmanaged deployment rather than managed deployment, because we need to tweak many things over here. So basically deploy it as an unmanaged package, and whenever the necessary changes are required, you can do it out. But again, like for this type of connections and all, I mean URLs and all, it's configurable with the environment variable, so you can always use that capability. Coming to your third question, like obviously like when you move that how the solution works. And again, deployment is something which we are going to talk about in the last session. So we have all the activity inside our solution. So here itself, you can see all my agent components are there. So when you build this particular package, like when you start exporting it, it will basically add all the missing dependencies on that. And when you import it out, see this two connection references are which being used over here, right? So when you import it out, it will ask you the prompt to log in with the same connection references into your production as well, and it will be sorted out. So it will be like a smooth deployment. It's not like very complicated. Only thing is that right now for Copilot Studio, we need to do the unmanaged deployment rather than like other Power Platform solutions we can deploy as a managed solution. But at least with certain set of limitations with respect to changing the things with ALM perspective, we still need to do some sort of unmanaged deployment for this one. And of course, we will see that into last session. About your error handling case, specifically like here, there is no such try catch mechanism available at this point at the Copilot Studio level, but there are some sort of options available, like that is also something which we are going to see in upcoming class, where we can maintain the log for your agent history. So any conversation that is happening over here, it will be captured as an activity over here. So these activities are something like, you can see we just triggered that one automated trigger, so you can see that how many steps completed versus not. Now what happened is, when you open this up, you can see the detailing around that what is happened versus what not, and you can capture this entire history log into Azure App Insight, which is again like another third party, another Azure based product, where you can capture all the logs. On top of that, you can do your reporting. If anything is failed, probably it will show here that unable to do or something like that, like a flow step failed or something like that. Using that, you can track it out or manage it out. But at least over here at the tool level, there is no such capability at this point that if it is failed, prompting it immediately or something. But some other way like logging is something which we can do. But hopefully this capability available in the future. But yeah, hope that answers you what you are
Yeah,
looking
thank you very
for.
much. Just one more last one on the knowledge base on the website, right? Let's say your site is hosted in a SharePoint environment where it's yours. I see that it's crawling all your web pages given the domain. And probably it has its own crawl schedule and stuff. But what if some of the documents that are linked on these web pages, like a PDF or something, even though they are in the same hosted, does it go to that extent and find all the links and crawl and index that information for you to provide knowledge mining?
So the answer is yes. If it is less than 7 MB of your document with Copilot Studio licensing, yes, it will crawl if you just provide your root level SharePoint site. How that crawling is work or how it is combining the result, there is no clarity on that how this large language model behaving and giving you the result. But as per the documentation, yes, when you provide the root level SharePoint site without mentioning any specific library or list, it will look at your completely site. It will look at your all the list, all the libraries, all the modern pages, and give you the answer from it. Now, how much is crawled versus how much is not crawled, it's not something. I mean, how internal model is behaving or giving you the results. That's something there is no clarity on that on any of that architectural point on the internet around that. So assuming yes, it will give you the result on that. Maybe if it finds content from multiple resources, it will combine it and give it to you, basically.
Okay, that's awesome. I heard a tool called Crawl AI or something. Have you
Yeah,
used any
crawl is there.
tools?
No,
No.
I didn't use any such tool for us, like as a Power Platform and as a Copilot person. I mean, whatever content you want, we'll just train it. I mean, what SharePoint level extra configuration, again, like there are many different things come up, as I explained in the SharePoint class as well. Like if you are having M365 Copilot and if you enable the tenant level grounding, at the time it will give you more better result compared to just Copilot license that we are having. So many factors involved into that for that knowledge search basis. But yeah, I mean, how exactly it is searching, there is no guidance on the public internet available on by Microsoft, that how exactly it is going to make that search query to be executed or what content it is going to consume.
Okay.
Right? Perfect. Next, I can see the raise hand from Javed.
Yes, Ruvin, a small question for you. Tell me one thing, in the triggers that we are using right now,
Yes.
are we, because I may have missed it, are we using subject filtering on it? On the
Yes.
subject?
Yes. Yes.
But then
Yeah.
I have a small question. But the user, we don't know what he will put.
So I mean, it's again up to you, Javed. I mean, we just double verified that if you do not provide subject, then on every it's like same like Power Automate, right? If you do not provide any subject filter, it will call on any email that you receive. And what happened is we have provided the instruction as well that okay, when you receive a new email with the subject line training inquiry, perform this following task. So if it did not find any kind of word related training inquiry or anything, it will not execute this step. It's up to that. But again, why we are providing the trigger level filter to just reduce the number of calls, because ultimately, if you trigger I mean, when you do not apply any kind of filter on every email, this will trigger. Now what happen here is like, obviously, there are some billing messages consumed for this trigger, which we are going to cover in the next episode. And when this trigger is executing, it will consume around 10 to 15 messages from your overall capacity. So, you don't want that to be, called every time. I mean, 10 to 15 messages to just, I mean, for any random emails. So we just, yeah, okay. If it is training related thing, maybe just use this agent. Otherwise, don't even trigger this agent or don't make its task complicated. It's like that. So that's the reason why we applied that. And same purpose in Power Automate as well, right? Trigger condition, why we are adding that, because we don't want unwanted flow runs. Like, because at flow run level as well, we have some limits. So we don't exhaust it with those limits. That's why we are restricting at the trigger level itself. So same concept is here as well. That's why we are doing this whole activity.
Yes, but then the question that I have, when you say training inquiry, is it matching it word to word, or it is just
No,
understanding it?
yeah. So when you add in the trigger condition, yes, it will match exit to exit. But if you do not add as a trigger condition, and if you are just add like training inquiry, or maybe if you want to add more specified word, you can make like any kind of thing like the subject line, training inquiry or inquiry. You can add anything here. Here it can understand anything. But yeah, you just need to be specific, like what kind of email you want to taken by this particular training assistant to execute by. So here you can add any kind of natural language that will work. But when you add at the trigger level, at least it will match the training inquiry word, or maybe if you just try use training word, at least some words you need to supply there, right? So
Let's say I said training for Power BI. Does it understand it right now? Because
yeah,
in
so
the
in that,
subject.
yeah. So in that case, in your subject filter, it should be like just training word should be there, not like
Okay.
training inquiry completely. It will not
Okay.
understand. So just be the very common word that you are having, like inquiry or training or that kind of word, so that it can understand properly. Or maybe just do not use anything and based on the instruction do it basically.
Let's say I put training
Yep.
in my subject line right now. Can you
Yep.
what is a training subject? I only put in training, right?
Yep.
And in the email it comes training inquiry. Does it
It will
understand it?
work. Yes.
It will work.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks then. Thanks.
All right, perfect. Next, I can see raise hand from Raj.
Is there any possibility to add any third-party triggers or feeds,
Sorry, what trigger?
like any third-party tools, like any WhatsApp, for example, or some third-party, I mean, another
Yes.
like a feeds, XML feeds of, let's say, Amazon.
Yes,
Can we do
you
that?
can do that. Yes, you can do that. For that, you need to use custom connector, same like other Power Platform product. So over here, let's say if you just want to, I mean, trigger level, of course, WhatsApp or all, I mean, trigger level, it's available or not. I need to check on that. But action tool level, of course, you can do that. So here there is an option called uh, connectors as well as new tool, and over here there is a custom connector option, so you can connect any of your Amazon or WhatsApp APIs or anything you want and do that. Or many companies nowadays are offering model context protocol as well, so if you want to connect any MCP you can do that as well. Trigger level, I'm not sure. You can add your own custom trigger. Just a minute, let me check that. If you go to the library WhatsApp, and no, I mean, there is a limited scope at the trigger level, but tool level, yes, you can do that. That's what I realized. Yeah. Over here, it's mainly the Microsoft connectors, which, or maybe many third-party connectors also there, but they should provide a support for that. It's like that.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. All good. Anyone else has any other question? Okay, I can see two questions in the chat window. How do we change the mailbox of the trigger? Example, I need to trigger when an email arrives on the generic HR email address. So it's simple, like simply if you just want your trigger to be configured with some other account. So when you are adding the trigger itself, you can just configure that particular account, I mean that particular mailbox. So when a new email arrives, when you click on next specifically, when you are making the connection, at that time, make sure you change the connection of your other email box. So let me just show it to you. So over here, you can see the Outlook action. So instead of that, click on new connection reference, same like Power Automate, and just connect with the another mailbox that you have. And that's how your trigger will be configured with that another account. Okay, so that's how you can do that. Hopefully that is clear for you, Kritish.
Yeah, just stop on that, Dhruv. Thank you so much. So does that mean that other account should also have a license? For example, I have M365 license, Copilot license.
No,
So that does
no,
not
no,
require
no.
it.
No, licensing, just don't worry about that. This licensing is little bit behaving differently. I'll talk about in tomorrow's class. So to
Okay.
answer you out, no, it doesn't necessary that require a Copilot license. No.
Oh,
Okay.
perfect.
Next, I can see raise hand from, sorry, question from Jonas. Since the email subject may vary, how should we handle such case? So as I said, like subject, you can provide the more generic word if you want. If you do not provide anything, just manage it via this kind of instruction that, or maybe you can be more generic or more specific that if it is, if the context is around related training inquiry, then only proceed the steps. Maybe you can just add that as an instruction so that it can follow that thing. So you need to trigger level, you need to manage with the keyword that I explained, or at the instruction level, you can just add this kind of line to handle that case. Okay, so this is how you need to do. Hopefully, Jonas, that is answering your question. I can see raise hand from Sagar. You have a question?
Yes, Ravin.
Yes.
In the
Please go
trigger,
ahead.
we have a library. What was the use of library?
Sorry, trigger, what you say?
In the trigger, we have a library, and we have in the trigger.
Where? Just a minute.
Just now before you shown some options,
Yeah.
future and library.
Yeah.
Here we have library future.
Yeah. So this library is something which is different. Okay. So this is this library I didn't cover up so far. That is in my upcoming class. So just wait for that. It's something like as a custom. If you have built something, it will be available as a library section over here. But still here you will not be able to use any kind of library stuff. But just wait for that particular session because this terminology I haven't explained you so far. So don't get yourself confused right now on that.
Okay.
Okay.
And how we will, for example, we don't have some connectors. How we will call like API? How we will integrate? It's possible.
That's
How
my
we
next
handle it?
use case. That's my next use case. So in tomorrow's class, no, not tomorrow, Monday class, next Monday, we are going to start that journey with a whole custom connector thing, and we'll call those APIs as well into this Copilot agent. So of course, we are going to do that. So next Monday, we will reach to that point. Okay.
Okay. And I have also some small question. For example, we are adding suppose default tables in integrate with the Copilot Studio. We can any face the issues in future.
Default,
I
sorry, what's your question?
default tables. I have added some default tables integrated with the Copilot Studio. Can we face any issues with that default anything we can further? We can
Issues
face
means
any
what
issues
kind of issues?
like it will be showing the data or it will be represent the in the data threshold, so we can modify the delete or create these things of I want to I want to.
Are you talking about Dataverse default table?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you can do that. So let's say for an example, if you want to perform any kind of CRUD operation with Dataverse, then of course you need to add the different tools of Dataverse over here. So in Dataverse table, whatever operation you can do, whatever possibility is there, it is showing you over here as an option. So I mean, you can create a new row or delete a row, or whichever steps you need to perform, you can able to do that over here with the different tools available over here with the Dataverse. And again, that is something you need to use at your instruction, that how you want your agent to be behave or how you want your agent to be executed. So yes, you can do this thing out over here, yeah, with the default table as well. But again, like when you add that particular tool, it should have the proper permission on that table to read or write, or it depends that what authentication you will use. Like any tool that you are adding here, right? As I shown you, let's see if I'm going to this tool section. So let's say create an item, right? So we are creating an item over here, right? So obviously, like which connection it is using, it uses this connection. So this connection should have access on that table, same like in Dataverse. Okay, so and again, like here, what authentication you use the owner's credential, which means this credential it should use to create an entry, or it should use that I mean, in autonomous case, mostly we need to use owner's credential. So whichever connection that you configured with, they have proper access on the table or that site level, then only they can able to do that.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
All right, perfect. I do not see any more raised hand at this point in this chat window. Now just give me the reactions. At least everyone is following with me so far. At this use case, it is clear. Knowledge source plus tools plus instruction. Okay. All right, perfect. Now we will go one more level up from here, and one exercise I'm going to give you in the homework that you need to do. So this is one exercise. This is something we are going to do, and in homework, exercise number 4 is there. It's an autonomous appointment booking. I explained the whole use case over here, like what you need to do. I provided the solution as well to you over here. Maybe just try that out in your homework. This is exactly the similar one that we build into the use case number 2 plus 3 is something which we are going to do. But all the learning tests that we have done into that, it will be a proper use case. If you perform that, you will gain more confidence around that. So just do that use case number 4 in the homework. Okay, but use case number 3 is pretty simple. I mean, so far we just use this, I mean, public facing website plus this tool experience, right? Now I'm going to talk about one more real use case where this agent can be really useful to you. Okay, this is a use case for Reliance Digital. And again, like this is like for any retail customer or for any customer who is mainly into the space of selling the products. Probably this agent is useful to them. So generally what happen here is, here they want to automate one complete agent process end to end. Like generally what happens is when when an owner are selling different product, right? Products are delivered. After that, customers are saying that, okay, I want to return that product. But again, returns are based on certain set of policies. I mean, let's say for an example, Amazon has 7 days buyback policy. Okay. Or if you buy something from Myntra, they have like, okay, 3 days you need to return after your delivery. Okay. Or some, if you buy some sort of goods, or if you buy some sort of fruits or vegetables, right? It has the same day replacement. If you do it after some days, they will not been able to do that. Okay, now what happened is this particular Reliance Digital is getting every day lots of emails on the return things, and they want to return this back out. They are just looking for some of the information, that the steps, that okay, how can I return this, or maybe what are the steps for returning the product and all, right? So they are getting every day lots of inquiries around that, and what they want is they want some sort of autonomous agent rather than human impacting each email one by one. It should auto reply to the same person with the proper resolution looking from their policy documents. So what they have given us is this customer is given us some sort of uh, PDF files over here. So one PDF file is about their return policy. So what should be the eligibility for the return? What should be the time frame for the return? What are the steps for the return? What are the condition for the return? Okay, and what kind of contact information that they can contact us? And there are some sort of different policies for different category, like electronics should be 30 days, food items should be how many days after that, clothing category, right? So they have this whole policy document over here. Just for this demo, I just use 3-pager document at this point. Okay, so whichever user has asked upon, they need to check against their policy and need to send an appropriate reply to the user, like what steps they need to perform, or whether they are eligible for a return or not. They need to make that decision by its own and need to perform this entire activity end to end. Okay, so this is like a use case of returning the product. Now, how can we do that thing out? Okay, so simple. Now my mind should immediately start thinking in this direction. Like, okay, people can ask any query. So obviously it's an autonomous trigger. I need to have some sort of trigger email receives. Okay, second thing, I need to have this in my knowledge source, somehow this PDF file, so that it look at that PDF and give me the answer from it. Okay, second thing. Third thing is, okay, once it is looking the knowledge source, I need to reply back. So there is one tool I need to add, like send an email back to the user. Okay, simple 3 steps and my Copilot autonomous agent will be ready. Now, this time I will not write everything from scratch. This agent will take some time in order to build. So I did some background activity already, because this particular document, we know that when we did our class number 5 for training the file from the PDFs and Word and Excel, right? It takes some time in order to train your model, right? Around 5 to 10 minutes it was taking to make that file available. So we don't have 10 minutes of time. So what I have done is I already trained my agent with the file already. Now on top of that, we will just use some of these tools and action and perform that complete use case. Okay, so how to start with thinking around this kind of use case? Now you are familiar with instruction and everything, so we can just go fast forward, because not in every class we will not spend much time on just writing an instruction and just creating an agent and training our model. So this kind of little things I will do in the background, so we will save at this that particular time and focus more on the learning part. So this is the use case I am having now. Now, to start with, let's do that. I already have that agent created as auto refund Reliance agent over here. And what I did as a knowledge source is I added that PDF file simply over here, which you already know how to add PDF file in your knowledge source. And I already added some description that this resource provides some information related terms and condition to return any product. Okay, so this is my knowledge source which it need to refer. Okay, and I go to the setting and make sure that common language is is disabled. So use general knowledge is turn off. Make sure this is happened because I don't want this agent to look at any random information from public internet. It must need to use my knowledge source. Apart from that, there is no other knowledge source it need to look at out. Okay, simple. I'm just having this. Perfect. Now, what I'm doing here is I want to reply to the user. So obviously, like, I have created the description of my agent that you are a customer service agent dedicated to assisting the customer with the return request for the item purchased in the store or online. As a key part of the customer support team, you need to maintain friendly, professional, and helpful tone while ensuring a smooth and efficient return process. Your role is to analyze company's return policy and provide clear, accurate advice on the whether a return request meets the eligibility criteria. Your aim is to assist the customer returning the items whenever possible, while also safeguarding the company's financial interest by ensuring that only policy compliant returns are approved. Okay, so you just provide some sort of description to your agent. All right. Now, instruction we can always write out after we do that. I already have written this, but I'll explain you it out. Okay, and now we simply need to configure our tools and triggers. So I'm just doing the tools because ultimately I need to send that in the email. So I'll use same send an email. Send an email. That's it. Use the proper connection. Add and configure. Perfect. Send an email. Provide a proper name. Send an email messages related the return query sent by the user. Okay, I want to subject and body completely dynamic in the fashion. I don't want to make it anything hard coded. AI can make the decision automatically by its own. Let's go back. My tool is ready. And now let's configure the trigger as well. So I'll just add a trigger when a new email arrives. And this time, maybe just for the testing purpose, click on next. And in subject, I just want that this to be, if it has any word like return or product return or anything like that, maybe you can just supply that out. So what I'm doing here is I'm just supplying some sort of wording over here, return. It should have some sort of word called return. Create a trigger. This will create an autonomous agent trigger. Okay, it's created perfectly, looks good, and this is how it looks like. All right, so almost I'm ready now, and I just need to now supply some sort of instruction over here. Okay, so again, this is whole instruction I have written. Let's read this out. So I just written like this. You are a Reliance Digital customer service agent responsible for handling return requests from the customer. Customer will submit the return request via email, and your role is to assess each request based on company's return policy and provide clear, accurate response. Return policy is available in the file we trained with your knowledge source. You should follow the steps below without missing any. Once all the actions are completed, your work is finished. Once you receive an email with the subject line return request, perform the following task without missing any information. Number one, parse the body of the email to identify the item details and reasons the return of the item. Also remember whom to reply using the property of the email. Second, search your internal knowledge source and return based on the received information from an email. And last, use the tool send an email. So maybe just copy this stuff, send an email. Maybe even if this link is not there, that is fine, guys. It's not necessary to obviously provide with the exact, because when you copy from here, it just have the link as well behind the scene. Okay, you can keep it, or if you are not keeping with the email link, that's totally fine. Okay, to write an email response and customer advising whether the item can return or not, you will find the email address that you capture in step 1. The email should be friendly tone, same thing. And if you are unable to make a decision, simply tell them our expert team will connect you in next 24 hours. Don't over promise the things. That's what I want to provide here. Don't be over smart. Provide this instruction so it don't commit anything. Okay, and please suggest that they can call the Reliance Care customer care department on this number. Use a friendly sign off as Reliance Care customer service, blah blah blah, and do the proper formatting. Okay, so I'm just providing this prompt. That's pretty much it. Let's save this out. Okay, I'm not publishing this agent now. Publishing we have done previously, and we were taking the question, and I just forget you to show you the response that we received with the autonomous one as well. So let's just look at that one. So that trading inquiry for Power BI that we received, I get the reply on the same mailbox, and this is what it just provide you the information over here, and showing you the response in the email format. Okay, and again, in the case of autonomous agent, right, if I just go back over here quickly and open my training inquiry agent, you can always capture that automated response that is triggered by automatically without any human interaction in the activity section. So always in the activity, you can see this is what your automated. So this is triggered by the automated trigger at that time, and it executed all the steps, and it will just show you the status over here that okay, it said it performed all this activity and did this entire thing for you. Okay, so that's how you can capture. Now in this auto refund one, I'm not publishing because I don't want this to be completely automated trigger. I just want to test it right now, whether it's working fine properly or not. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm simply start testing this out. So clicking on the trigger, and let me draft an email. So I'm just opening this box. I'm just adding one email address over here. Let's add the subject. So I'm just like return my Samsung phone, something like this. And I'm just writing like hello. I want to return my Samsung phone. Can you help me about the return policy and help me how to return it out? Okay, let me see how it will behave or how it will answer. So I'm just sending this email now. It just sent and the email. Let's see if I'm receiving it over here first. So this use case is a combination of your file as a knowledge source plus your tools and trigger. Just imagine if you have a website, your documents, your tools, trigger, even at that time it will work absolutely fine. Okay. So whatever you learn in the previous class, plus on top of that, what instruction you provide, it will work absolutely fine. Let's use refresh trigger. So I triggered. Let's start testing. It look at the knowledge source and find out the answer from it first. See, it just get this whole information. Okay, it sent an email to the same mailbox. Now let's check the output. I should receive. Yes, I receive. Samsung phone, and thank you so much for to return your Samsung phone. Purchase this follow this step, eligibility, step by step, return condition, processing, exchange, your contact number, blah blah blah, follow all the instruction and did it perfectly, right? You can be more specific as well, right? I'm just writing one more thing, like, okay, let me send one more, that return vegetables I I shopped veggies from your shop. It's stale and non-editable. I want to return this. Help me with that. You can extend this use case at any level which you want. Again, what next level we can do it, we'll start looking at from the next class onwards. So more complex condition, if you want to define and all, it is all doable and all possible over here as well. So we'll see that, but at least let's see what output it is generating us with this one. Okay, I just received this. Started executing. Yep, looking at the knowledge source, written policy for vegetables. Just draft this content. And now let's see what reply I'm getting here. You know, it understands the proper context and it is saying sorry as well to it, right? So it understands the context and, you know, drafting the message the way it should be, like not just like a templatized message, right? And it just look at that document, whatever it find, it just showing you and, you know, giving you some sort of guideline around that to return this out and giving your instruction like this, right? So this is how you can do this kind of automation as well. Now just imagine what use case you have in your mind to automate with this kind of activity. Those everything you can do it with the help of Copilot agent. So agent is not just a chatbot. Agent is doing all this activity, all this task as well for you, which will make your life easier for as a human. Okay. Now in Friday's class, we will go one more level up from here, where we will do our own custom prompt with some GPT models. We will write some custom connector in Monday's class and extend this capability to the next level so that agent can enough capable to do some more activities around that. Okay, but this is like a whole level of different automations you can do with the autonomous agent. So this is the first part of autonomous agent, and this is what we learned so far, like knowledge source plus tools plus trigger, this three combination, and how you can do the different business, how you can solve the different business problem over here just via prompt, nothing code, nothing any technical aspect, just with the general language, natural language, and that makes your life simpler. Okay, so that's all I wanted to talk about in today's class. Friday we will specifically talk about the licensing as well. So ultimately all these things you are doing, right? So it will come up with a point of price perspective. So what would be the price? What would how much messages are consumed? We'll see that each one by one in the next class. Okay, but at least do this homework exercise. The last homework exercise is the combination of all these things we learned so far, and see how you will go with that. But yeah, that's pretty much it about today that I wanted to cover. we'll see you more on to the Friday's class. All right. I'm opening the stage for any Q&A. If you have any question, at least from this today's class about trigger or any actions or tools or anything, I'm happy to answer it out. The stage is open now for complete Q&A. All right. Anyone has any question, or maybe just give me some sort of reaction, at least you understand the use case that I explained, at least in this class. Maybe if it is clear, or maybe if it is adding some value in your Copilot Studio part, I'm happy to hear. All right. Perfect. All right. Anyone else has any other thing before we wrap up today's class? Otherwise, we are good. Okay. I do not see any more raised hand at this point, so all good. And just a final thing, as I said, like we were running one schedule behind, right? So I'll just post latest schedule of the class in the chat window after this class is finished. Basically, this is where I just shifted 3 class into 11 to 15th of week, and after 4th it was a festive season, so 2 class breaks we have done, and 11, 13 and 15 would be the next schedule that I have planned. Even I'm not sure about the 15 at this point, because 15 is again public holiday in India. So maybe we'll shift it to Thursday probably, but I'll make the decision later. But just at the very high level, 11 to 14th, maybe just keep yourself available, because we are just shifting to one additional class we added, and 2 classes we just shifted a little bit. Okay. All right. Anyone else has any other question or any other thing to bring up before we wrap up? Final call. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for your valuable time. See you in the Friday's class then. Have a great evening ahead. Goodbye.